Welcome to another episode of Mexican in the Kitchen. This time I'm not actually in my kitchen. I came to Parkano, Finland, and I'm gonna try something I've seen a lot. A lot of people like it here. It's a very Finnish dish in my opinion. I'm going to start with this wooden plank and I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to use this board to cook my salmon, and it's gonna be quite close to the fire. So I want it to be quite moist so it doesn't burn right away. I'm just gonna leave it here. I'll check on it tomorrow. I'm cooking the salmon tomorrow, but tonight I'm going to still prepare some of these wooden nails. Of course you can use some metal nails and that will be way easier, but since we're already here we might as well do it in the traditional way. The process is quite simple. You just have to sharpen some pieces of wood. I'm using a very simple knife, just small pieces. Looking back, if I do this again, I'm going to use way shorter nails because these were a bit too long and a bit too thick. But other than that, I would think this worked quite alright. This is the end result. They're quite simple, and I'm just going to throw them into some water maybe 10-15 minutes before using them, but that's about it. I left my board overnight in the lake. If it's a bit windy, I recommend that you tie it to something so it doesn't just float away. But this is ready and we can start cooking our salmon. My board is ready. I brought it to the table and I'm going to place my fish on top. Usually this recipe would be made with salmon, but in this case I'm using trout. They are very similar fish. They have a very similar consistency, very similar flavor. First thing I'm going to do is to cover my fish with some salt. Don't worry if you think it's too much. If we happen to use too much, we can always fix it. We will rinse it and it's gonna be alright. Next thing we have to do is use our nails to make sure the fish stays on its place. I'm going to start by using a knife. You can use a hammer. In this case I'm using a hatchet just to hit it a bit, make a hole before, and then I'm going to use the wooden nail I made. And I must say at the beginning I was a bit there and there, will this hold? But once you have many of them on place and you make sure they go deep enough, then this will hold. It's not going to be a problem, don't worry about it. As I said before, I think my nails are a bit too long, but I'm going to test it, put it on the side, and as you can see, the fish holds in its place. So I think we're fine. Now we are going to continue seasoning our fish. I'm going to use jalovina. It's a Finnish liquor, quite traditional. It's basically cognac cut with vodka. If you cannot find jalovina where you live, of course you can use maybe some whiskey or some similar spirit. I'm making some small superficial cuts on my fish, so the jalovina goes a bit deeper into it and the seasoning goes a bit deeper into the fish. In my bowl I have a bit of sugar and some jalovina. I'm going to mix it quite well, and it won't completely mix because I know I used a lot of sugar, but that's alright. I want it to be really concentrated, but I still don't want to see the sugar, so I'm just going to take whatever's on top, whatever's liquid, and I'm going to pour it on top of my fish. Make sure you make enough of this mix, because while the fish is cooking, we're going to pour some of it from time to time. We have a fire going on, and usually you would set this kind of fish vertically, but because of the setup, it's going to be way easier to just put it horizontally. You might be wondering how far should I put it from the fire. Usually you would set your hand on top of your fish, and you have to wait there for a while. Your hand should get quite hot, but still not reach the point where it's burning and you have to just quickly remove it. That would be the perfect spot. At this point there's not much to do. You just have to keep an eye on your fish, make sure you move it around. Once the bottom starts to get cooked, then you turn it around, make sure it cooks evenly. At this point we were just enjoying sitting next to the fire. It was quite cold, it started snowing, but also I thought this was a great chance for me to show a bit of the Finnish life, Finnish culture. Forest is a huge part of the Finnish culture, and this is beautiful. You're just enjoying nature, you are close to the lake, you can have a sauna, have some beers, swim in the lake if you want. This is just beautiful, just perfect, really traditional Finnish, and there's nothing not to like about this. As I said before, I have my jalovina and sugar mix, and I'm just going to throw a bit on my fish. Just from time to time, keep throwing a bit. This will give a very subtle but nice flavor. I think you can tell now how the bottom part starts to be cooked, which is nice because that's the thickest part, so I was a bit worried about it. So now I will just turn it around, make sure it gets cooked from all sides equally. As I said, at this point all we have to do is keep an eye on our fish, make sure it doesn't overcook. Once again, I'm going to use a bit of my jalovina mix and just keep throwing it until you run out of it. My fish is almost ready now, but I put it vertically for a while, as it traditionally goes, just because the bottom part is a bit thick, so I wanted to finish cooking it. Fish is ready. Now all I have to do is to remove the nails and we can start eating. This is really nice. Of course, if you want it a bit more cooked, you can leave it for a bit longer, but this is perfect. We're serving it with salad. Personally, I love this dish because it looks amazing. It's a great experience. It's really something nice to try, and it's way easier than it looks, so I hope you try it. I really hope you like the video, hope you enjoy it. Press like, subscribe, share it with your friends, all those kind of things, and see you in the next one.